All right, Trent, I'm going to run the
Hello.
bumper, and we're going to do
All right.
this.
Bump, 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 bump.
Yes, that one. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Zyori Podcast. This is episode number 102. It's March 21st, 2017. I'm Zyori, joined again by the lovely Trent Pax. Trent, my friend, it's beautiful here in Kansas. How is it up there in Canada?
It's good. It's there was actually a lot of snow yesterday, previous night, which kind of sucked. So I had to do shoveling again, which I was not hoping to do after coming back home, but that's all right.
Yes. Dude, I think winter is just over for us. At this point, it has been spring weather for almost 2 weeks straight, and I think it's just done. We're into springtime.
Well, congratulations. It was very nice when I was there, I have to say. I really liked the weather. Came home and was kind of depressed. But one thing that you guys don't have, though, with the snow, like I actually had the best night the other night. You know what I did? My wife went to sleep. She's get up at 6. So she was in bed at like 9:30 or 10 or something like that. She's get up early for work. I took the Steam Link. I brought one of my monitors upstairs. I had a Xbox controller, and I lit a fire, and I played Shadow of Mordor for like 4 hours next to the fireplace. And oh my god,
it was Shadow of Mordor. That's old school now. That's been out for like 5 years, 4 years.
Yeah, I think it's like 4 years old at this point. 3 years old.
It came out when I was at BTS. I remember K-Pop Tosa snapping his carrot to how cool it was.
Yeah, it was cool. I digged it. But there's like a bunch of content, and you can get the full Game of the Year edition with all the past stuff. I mean, this is delayed gaming has so many benefits. And so there's like all this DLC, and you get it all for $20. It's on Humble Bundle right now.
Damn.
$20. So you throw the charity some money.
All right.
And I was in a little bit of a Lord of the Rings kick anyway. I've been watching some of the movies while I'm like doing dishes and shit. So
wasn't the deal with Shadow of Mordor? It's the one where like the NPCs track their kills, and every time you play through it, it's like customized, and you have vengeance against the big orcs and stuff, right? Isn't that kind of?
Yeah, there's like a warlord system where you can basically like you can take over people first off. You can like dominate them and like turn them on your side.
Wow.
And then you can like set up these like kills on some big ones. Yeah, if only we were sponsored right now. If you're a partnered streamer, isn't this where we change the game to Shadow of Mordor and people buy it through Twitch? Is that a thing? Yeah.
I think so. I think I actually opted into it on the Moonduck Twitch channel. I don't know what the fuck it means. I guess it's all automated, but the channel is. You have to be playing the game for it to work, though.
I think so. Or like you'd have to be turned on to it, right? With the.
Well, I don't know. I just clicked. Please give me money for whatever I did. I don't know the details. I didn't read the fine print on this one. I mean, it's only a matter of time, right, before Twitch continues to integrate more stuff with Amazon and selling random things, because that's the whole distribution model. There's always a cut there for the person that makes the sale. That's how Steam makes so much money. Every sale they get a little kickback. So it kind of makes sense. Yeah, it's like a good G2A.
As Ark is pointing out there in the chat, there's another one coming out. So if you have now's the time to play it, because now you can play through it, keep your save game, and then it gets thrown into the next one. So
really, that's a cool dynamic. That doesn't happen that often.
Yeah, it's like I guess BioWare is the biggest one who does that, right? With like Mass Effect and all that shit.
Oh yeah.
But
I immediately think, what does that mean for limitations of the new game? If the old one can just be ported directly into it.
Oh, I think it's just like save file stuff though, just like who your nemesis were in the Warlord system and all that crap. So
okay, I see.
Yeah. But anyway,
wow,
that's some good stuff. So yeah, there's my single player game recommendation. I don't know, I'm having a lot of fun with it. So
okay, I don't play single player games, so
I know you're like anti.
I don't
single player
recommend anything besides Dota and Hearthstone, and I don't even play Hearthstone.
Yeah, I was gonna say you don't even play Hearthstone. What are you talking about? When's the last time you played Hearthstone?
It's been a long time. It's been a couple of expansions. I think
sometimes you play Overwatch, which is kind of fun.
That's true. I'm almost done my calibration games for ranked this season. I'm like,
oh, we should play together, dude.
Yeah, I'm like 5-2 right now. I've been tearing it up. People are terrible at that game. I'm not good, but I get gold usually on damage done with Junkrat very easily and just blow people the fuck up and we win.
I think I have a high hidden MMR in that game because I've never played the ranked one, but when I play quick play, everyone's pretty good. Like I feel like they're not bad. Like I'm like, okay, that guy legit knows how to play this game, and they all have like 5 stars under their name, and I'm like, well, shit, they've been playing this game literally more than 5 times as long as I have, which is.
How does the ranking scale in Overwatch? Like what's an average rank?
I don't know. I think like 20. I think there's like a 1,000 systems. So Pioneer's saying I ranked in at 1,300 because idiot teammates. So I think that's like somewhere around like 2K MMR, I would say, in Dota. I think like 2,000 is like 3K in Dota.
Like, what's the highest you can be placed?
I don't know. I think it's like 4,000 or something.
4,000. Wow.
That sounds about right.
Okay.
I have no idea, though, guys. We are not Overwatch players.
Yeah,
so
I don't know.
Someone in chat is going to instantly correct us, and that will show up on the screen. So there you go. Thank you.
I was playing Overwatch the other day, though, and one thing I like about that game is people use their mics a lot, for better or for worse, and there's a surprising amount of girls that play that game. I would say almost like 1 out of 3, 1 out of 4 games, there's a girl using the mic, which is a big change of pace because more girls play Dota than actually talk on voice chat. So
yeah.
It's kind of cool to see it, but a lot of the dudes talk a lot too, and most of them are pretty obnoxious. And there's a lot of young kids. It reminds me of when I play Counter-Strike because I'm Silver 1 in Counter-Strike. So when I play matchmaking, I mostly just get queued with like 12-year-old kids that are screaming into the microphone. I'm not even joking. That is my average teammate, and it reminds me very much of that. So I guess that's the translation. The lowest rank of Counter-Strike is equivalent to like middle of the bell curve in Overwatch. Is that fair?
Yeah, that sounds about right, I would say.
Sorry, Overwatch players.
Well, they're not FPS players. I mean, straight up, they're not. They're a bunch of Blizzard players. You know what I mean? Like they're Hearthstone and Diablo players that all play this game. Like there are FPS players. I'm sure there are a lot of people that their only Blizzard game they own is probably Overwatch, and those will be the FPS players.
Yeah.
But a lot of people that are in that whole Blizzard world are definitely not FPS players. I mean, they're not even FPS devs, right? Like.
Yeah.
This is the first time they've done anything like that from Blizzard.
That's true. I mean, maybe way back in the day they did something smaller, but no, nothing really comes to mind. And I will say, I kind of enjoy being Silver 1 Counter-Strike because I'm not an FPS guy. But one of the first games I ever played in like a LAN environment was Halo 1 on the original Xbox, and I was terrible at it. And the only reason it was kind of fun is because it was on a console. It had some auto-aim bullshit. Everyone else sucked at it too. But in terms of being like good at competitive gaming, like Dota, I'm at least, around like 4K. My games aren't complete dog shit. Counter-Strike, I'm retarded, dude. All I want to do is get the Tech 9 and charge them. Then I want to buy an AK and charge them. I'm pretty good with the P90, the classic. I don't use grenades. I only buy armor sometimes. I also like to take the bomb one way when the rest of my team goes the other way and then sneak plant it and then hide against the door with the shotgun when they come to disarm and shoot them in the back. That's all that I'm into, really. So it's fun being at Silver 1 with those strategies.
I've never played a game of Counter-Strike, actually.
Well, that's
not since
worse.
1.4 or whatever. I remember when my friends had it when I went to his house in New Glasgow, which is a town near where I grew up. I went there. And he showed me Counter-Strike, and I played a bit, and then he gave me a mixed CD that had Billy Talent, Metallica, and AC/DC on it, and it was pretty much the best weekend ever. Yep.
Wow.
Some good stuff. Yeah, there you go.
Holy shit, man. So
up until that point, the only music I had was Jimi Hendrix.
I thought you were going to say Jimmy Buffett for a second. I was about to lose my shit.
No,
Kelsey loves Jimmy Buffett, and she keeps trying to get me to listen to it. And I'm not going to lie, I don't really like Jimmy Buffett at all. I could care less about Jimmy Buffett. I think half of his songs are retarded and just about alcoholism.
I mean, that's all of country music, so.
And I'm not into that either.
Yeah, it's just beer, trucks, dead dog, and the girl.
I mean, Margaritaville, it's okay. I'll get down a little bit.
Yeah, that's good.
Blew out my flip-flop, stepped on a pop top, one of the greatest lyricists of this or any other generation. I mean, come on. You got to give the guy some credit, though. He still sells out stadiums. Like, I think statistically, in terms of like record sales and like ticket sales and all that kind of bullshit, like he's a true A-list celebrity, man. He's at the top of the top.
He's Jimmy Buffett.
And he's like fucking 80 and still touring and selling out stadiums. It's pretty impressive.
Cool. Yeah, no, that's good stuff.
I can't believe he hasn't died of skin cancer yet, dude. Back in his day, they didn't use suntan lotion.
That's true.
They didn't give a fuck. He's old.
No.
Now everyone's... I got my nose got a little sunburn on the ski trip last weekend. It actually really sucked.
Oh, really?
I even put sunscreen on. I just didn't put on enough. I didn't reapply. Fucked up.
Oh, I miss skiing. I'm hoping with this snow I can get one more ski in. I only got to go like twice this year, which is really depressing.
Oh, yeah? How often
I didn't
do you usually
go at all last year. I don't know. Like, I tried to go like 4 or 5 times, but it's hard. Now that we actually have a car this time, though, we should have done better and actually went. But weekends are busy. We always have like plans on a weekend. We have these like family parties, or we want to like build something in our house and add something.
Mm-hmm.
Because my wife's so busy all week. So we actually try and do shit on the weekend and try to be productive, not just go skiing.
I feel that.
She's not a relaxer, man. You know me, I would be like, yo, let's go skiing and we'll have a fire later and watch a movie, eat some snacks. And she's like, you know what we should do today, Trent? we should paint the shed. And I'm like,
yeah,
I want to paint the shed. How are you so like? She works so hard all week, and then the weekend comes and she just wants to either garden and do a bunch of that or paint the shed.
I mean, I'm jealous.
We're different people, man. I know, right?
Kelsey's a little bit like that. She has that energy where she just wants to fucking go and do, and it's always the next thing. And it's good because I'm a little more like you. When in doubt, I'm happy to kick back and just burn into some Netflix for a good 6 hours.
Oh yeah, see, my wife does not get that. She actually does not understand how people can like binge watch TV and stuff like that. That's just not in her blood.
Yeah. We went hiking this past weekend too. I think I'm trying to use this ski trip as an excuse to rip the Band-Aid for being completely lethargic and out of shape.
Right.
You know, like there was a good window where I was doing yoga twice a week and I was stretching outside of that and I was like rowing at least once a week somewhat regularly and starting to feel good. And then you get to the point where you feel good and your back doesn't hurt anymore. So you go, great. Now I can go back to fucking off like I used to, the good life. And of course, it's all just an arms battle against gravity. And the longer you sit hunched over without stretching or working out, the shittier it gets. And it all comes back. And the longer time you're lethargic, the shittier it feels when you start working out again. There were a few times skiing where I thought I might throw up. I'm not going to lie. You know, you're like halfway down the run, and I'm just like, holy fuck. We're not even close to the bottom. And I'm like fucking huffing and puffing. And
Did you get those wobbly thighs?
A couple of times towards the end. Yeah, the end of the first day, I definitely did. But we went hiking the day after we got back from the ski trip, and I am not a hiker per se. You know, we've got thin air up here. You're hiking up a trail. We went like probably 1.8 miles or something. We didn't do the whole trail. We got part way, and I said fuck this, and we went the other way and just walked back. So. It was not an impressive display of physical prowess, but
I returned from the hub, of which we ate garbage. Like the only vegetables you guys served was broccoli with olive oil and garlic and all these other seasonings. So it's not even a vegetable at that point.
Hell yeah,
which
dude.
I thought was the funniest thing ever. Like just boil your damn vegetables. Oh, actually, someone tweeted at me and got very angry that I suggested boiling the vegetables because you lose a lot of the vitamins.
Yes.
Yeah, no shit. Everyone knows that. But
that's why you cook them with the olive oil.
There's still vegetables in them. Yeah, you still lose them that way too. Or at least, I guess you don't lose them. That's true.
You add some of the good fats, you know, olive oil, man. You got to lubricate your arteries.
Just eat some raw veggies too. It's okay to boil your broccoli, guys. There are still vitamins inside them. But anyway,
is true.
That's beside the point. I get back and we're going to do a 10K this year. There's like this annual marathon in
10K,
Halifax. Yeah, so I think her brothers are both doing the full this year because they both recently got into marathoning, which is pretty cool. It's
hardcore.
They run a lot, obviously. Yeah, very hardcore. So she wanted to do some stuff. Yeah, no, I don't enjoy running that much. But she was like, oh, well, let's just do the 10K. Like, it takes like under an hour. It's fine. So came back and she wanted to go for a run right away. And my thighs are still feeling it.
Oh, yeah. So, you know, I used to think a 5K was a lot back in the day before I really understood kilometers to miles. A 5K is not very long at all. You can finish a 5K in what, like 20 minutes, 25 minutes?
25, yeah.
30 minutes?
Yeah, we just ran one and it was like 20. It was like 28 minutes and we stopped at like 4 red lights because we were running in the streets and we hit like every red.
Yeah, that sucks.
So probably like 25 minutes or so.
But yeah, I mean, I used to be in shape. I used to play soccer and whatnot. And now that the weather's been so good, I fell and hurt my arm a little bit. But once I'm finally healed, I think I'm going to get into the ski erg a little bit, you know?
Oh, that'd be fun. You know, I have a freaky body fact from myself, actually. Well, not
freaky
I know, it's a
body
weird.
fact.
I have a very low resting heart rate, like exceptionally low, and not even like super fit. It stays low kind of a deal. It's just always really low. When I was in high school, I was very fit in high school because I played basketball and I played literally the entire game. I never got subbed out. And my resting heart rate was at, I want to say it was 52 at one point. And my bio teacher legitimately didn't believe me. So she had to like do the test on me herself and everything. And she was like kind of freaked out. But now my heart rate, even when I'm like out of shape, it rests at like 58 all the time.
Wow.
It's pretty down there.
That's impressive. You're slow moving.
Well, it's not
man.
really though. It's not even when I'm fit. It's just always very chill.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about the hub, man. That was a fun thing, right? An achievement, an old notch in the belt.
It was actually. I would say. I was actually talking to Lyrical last night because he was wondering if I could help him with some SEA stuff, and I said no, I got to sleep for Europe, and he asked how the hub was, and I said I think we feel like we exceeded all expectations, which I thought was a good way to put it. Would you say that's fair?
That is fair. I don't know if that's the nicest thing to say to someone who was at the competing hub, but how was it? Well, Lyrical, we exceeded all expectations. Get fucked.
Hey, I think he knows, though. I mean our own expectations. Honestly.
No, I'm just giving you shit. No, you're totally right. This hub was hard for us in terms of selling it to sponsors. That was why we had no sponsors, because you don't know what the viewership's going to be like when you have the first one. And we all remember Moonduck and Chill, and the viewership on that bad boy was ass tier. We're talking
like 3K?
Like, yeah, 3K peak. You know, we're like holding 1,300 concurrents. That ain't great. No one's interested in 1,300 concurrents. But, you know, we held a minimum of about 5K, probably averaged more around 7.5 and peaked out at like 12, 13, something like that.
With the worst games, though. Yes. I mean, that's pretty important. Like, that was like SA. Like, I shouldn't say the worst game. Well, SA was the worst game.
No, but there were a few times when we were casting Europe side by side with BTS, and then they had official casters on the rest of the Europe games, and we had official casters on South America. So we are on Europe, climbing upward at like 12, 13K viewers, and then all of a sudden we switch to South America, and of course viewership is cut in a third because, I mean, it's for obvious reasons. Everybody would rather watch Europe semifinals over South America semifinals. So things like that definitely caused fluctuations in the viewership, but all things considered, the numbers were better than we thought. Of course, Slacks going ham made everyone quite happy. It was kind of fun to wake up and just see what madness had happened on the stream overnight that had made the front page.
Yeah, we were Reddit fiends. That I mean, kind of understandable, I suppose, the way we were casting and everything. But Reddit was like our moonduck, basically.
Our moonduck. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
Like it was good though. It was kind of funny how we totally devolved from being any sort of professional atmosphere at all, but it was just too fun, honestly.
Yeah,
that's what it came down to, and I think that's what people like anyway, right? Like, if we're gonna be there in a room, you spend. Yeah. My attitude has always been towards qualifiers. I spend the whole year doing this bullshit 2-person. I'm gonna be the analyst, and you're the play-by-play, and I'm gonna say, well, next they should take down this tower, and then go for Roche, and then you literally do that like 100 times. Like a month, basically, it feels like. I repeat those sentences and everything. So when you can come to a qualifier where it's just 24/7, non-stop Dota, everything's crazy, just let loose. Still enjoy the games, still put it out there, but we definitely had a lot of fun doing it different, I would say.
Yeah, I think you're right, though. It's the style that we went with and the whole kind of Slack Suns fan casting vibe really meshes well with the qualifiers. And it's you know, people have said in the past, like, the qualifiers for a major are not the time for tier 3 casters to have a chance. It's like, actually, it is. That is the perfect time for everybody, the people that have been working hard to make some money casting and get a little bit of the spotlight and cast some top tier games. And because it's so much, and now with 6 regions, it is literally so many games of Dota. At times, there are 4 matches going at once. As a viewer, you can't digest all of it. So I don't want to say there's no point in taking it too seriously, but especially the group stage, it's too chaotic for viewers to really be that upset about it. A lot of the it's best of ones. You know, you have these games that a lot of them don't really matter that much in a vacuum. You know, especially the day one of the group stage, there's always that, well, they went 1-3 today, but if they win out tomorrow, they might be able to move on. So it's hard to follow, and I think people really like that relaxed. It's not stressful to watch, you know?
No, it's too much Dota as a viewer. Like, I can remember being that viewer before I was casting.
Yeah.
And I love Dota. Like, I watch Dota all day. Like, I have 2 monitors, and one of them is always showing Dota all the time, and it's still overwhelming from the qualifiers. So if you can bring that Dota while also having something that breaks up the monotony of just, you know, centaur after centaur after centaur, it's really good. I mean, that's why we're going to do well in those situations. Like, imagine if we had the same follower base and like branding on Twitch. I feel like it wouldn't even be close, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, our channel grew a lot for that event. I think we started at like 40K, 45K followers, and now we have like 65K. The Betway show matches have also helped with that. But that kind of channel growth makes a big difference. I mean, there are a lot of people that, you know, are casual viewers that just know BTS as the Dota stream. So when in doubt, just turn on BTS and you know there's going to be something good because they've just been, you know, they have that massive following, and we're not even close to that yet. So
no,
it was definitely a fun event. I was glad we were able to have a good time, and it was fun to, you know, like really get to meet Brax. That's not somebody that I'd ever really hung out with before. I always kind of knew he was a chill guy, but it's cool to, you know, be around with someone and be in the same space. And I was surprised at how well he did, given that he hasn't casted too much. He had a lot of good insight. He has a very smooth voice.
Yes, he does.
Very soft presentation.
He could cast every single event, honestly. Which is a scary thing to say as a supposed analyst caster and co-caster, but he could replace any tier 1 analyst right now, I would say, without question.
Yeah.
Like, he was just instantaneously, I knew. Like, he was like 3 sentences in, and I was like, oh, fuck. Because I was on like the first cast of them, and I'm like, yep, Brax is super smart, very good at getting his point across, and he can be succinct.
Yeah.
He can just, and like, the way he like pauses his sentences and stuff, and just, he takes time to collect all his thoughts, and then he puts it out in a very nice way. It's, whew. Brax is good.
I mean, I think Blake also did surprisingly well, given that he'd never really done any kind of panel casting like that before. It's really fucking hard at the beginning. You know, like someone like Blake has obviously had some PR training. He's done interviews on TV. He's talked to the press. So he knows what to do when a camera's in front of him and he needs to present himself. But actually casting a game of Dota, one of the hardest things to do at the beginning is fill time and know what to say outside of the kind of obvious stuff or right after a team fight happens. But when there isn't a lot of action or you're in a pause, and that's where I think Blake did pretty well. Like, the more he talked, the more you knew that he's actually a fan of Dota. You know, he's not one of those celebrities that is just trying to use this as a platform, but he's actually a fan of the game, and he follows the players, he follows the teams. Like, he knows what the fuck is going on. And it was just cool to see that kind of unfold in front of us. I knew we were in good shape as soon as we picked him up from the airport, brought him to the house. He was like, I want to go to the house right away, say hi to everybody. He had his laptop out and was in a fucking pub game within like 10 minutes of walking into the house. And I was like, dude, this is the shit. That this guy's actually a gamer. He got off the plane and was like itching to get on the fucking pub train. And that's really cool, man. That put a big smile on my face. I'll tell you what.
I've gotten chilly. The heat's not enough. It's too much, guys. The robe's on. This is me. This is my natural habitat, guys. 90% of the time I am casting. This is what I look like. The robe. Oh, it's so soft. I love this thing. Got my slippers on. I'm comfy cozy.
Yeah. But anyhow, that was definitely a bit of a gamble when you bring in somebody like that that's never really done a Dota panel before. So
yeah, no, he was great. Yeah,
glad it worked
I 100% agree though. Like, he started a game and I was like, all right, good. And he just always wanted to pub.
Yep.
And he's really funny to play with. And you remember when Purge was coaching him?
Yep.
That was amazing. Actually, that was so funny. His eyes were just like, fuck. Like,
yeah.
He was just like, how did I not know that? And he's like, it's so obvious now.
Yeah. Well, so he's gone up in MMR a little bit, like since Elimination Mode when we did that first interview. I think he was 3K or so, and right now he's like 3.3, 3.4. So he is definitely climbing upward, but he's still a little bit at that stage where your tendency is to blame your teammates. And that's not to say your teammates never throw. And sometimes you have those games where you're 45 minutes in, Faceless Void's on your team, he wastes his chrono and gets picked off, and you just fucking lose. And it's really not your fault, and that individual threw the game. But for the most part, there's almost always something that you could have done better in the laning stage or when it came to a team fight or a rotation where if your team was further ahead, Void never would have been in that position to throw the game in the first place, right? Like the example that if Arteezy was playing at the 4K bracket, he could win every single game because he'll just dominate the mid lane so hard and take over the map that the other team just crumbles. So the excuse of, well, my teammates are holding me back isn't really true if you're actually good enough. And making that connection and changing your mindset from, I actually didn't do everything I could to win this game is how you improve your MMR and not dwell on the fuck-ups that your teammates make. And like listening to Purge kind of explain that concept much more succinctly than I just did, and to see Blake's eyes just kind of like, fuck, god damn it, he's so right. Oh my, it was just, it's really cool. Like, those are those kind of amazing moments when you remember that Dota is not just, you know, complete fuckery, that it's really like has complex strategy that even, you know, professional athletes, you know, the position that he's a middle linebacker, his position is very strategic. You know, he has to understand the plays, read the other side, and if they call an audible, adjust appropriately. He's like the guy that has the brain and the brawn, not just a lineman that has the muscle. So to see someone like that who does that as a professional career be so just captivated by Dota, man, it just fucking fuck yeah. It made me, it's so motivating, you know? It makes it feel like we're not wasting our time with fucking video games. We're actually doing something, Trent. We're fucking doing it. I thoroughly
enjoyed Blake, actually. My brothers-in-law were both very jealous, and they loved all the deets. Like, you weren't there in the car ride back to the airport, but we were like kind of grilling them about just like general NFL things, and like asking about certain players and everything. And I didn't bring any like merch or swag back to my brothers-in-law, but the deets I brought about other people on the Packers just made them so happy.
Really?
Oh yeah. Just like Blake was just like shredding people. It was so funny to hear him talk about all these like NFL stars and everything. It was good. But who else was at our hub? The lovely Shane.
Mm-hmm.
I thoroughly enjoyed my time with Shane. That was the first time I'd ever hung out with him.
Oh, really? That was Well, this was basically was this the first time you'd done a 24-hour stream like that? Because you've never been to any of the BTS hubs
No,
before.
I've never been to a hub before.
So, all right. That explains why you were so eager to go completely fucking ham. I get it now. Because I remember feeling that way at my first hub. And wait until you get to your 10th hub, and they're a little bit less fun. But, I mean, you went complete. You might have worked more hours than anybody else. You and Suns Fan, I think, were the top two.
Yeah, I would say so.
You might have actually cast the most games. That's...
yeah, probably Suns Fan too. Yeah, definitely. He's probably just as close as me. I can't imagine if there's a difference. It's probably not by much because he casts a ton too.
Yeah,
but he was also ready to go ham.
Yeah, he's been enjoying casting a lot recently. Like Shannon has gone in these waves. You know, he used to cast a whole bunch of Captain's Draft, like 1.0, 2.0. 3.0, and we haven't been doing that as regularly, and he's been focusing on the team, and it seems like he's been really enjoying it because he did, I think it was me and him that did almost every single panel for Elimination Mode 3, and he was totally into it. That wasn't because we couldn't find anyone else. That was because Suns fans said, this does not feel like work. I'm having a good time. Put me on every fucking panel, son. I'm ready. That's a good feeling.
I still get that feeling a lot of time with Dota, which is really great. I mean, that's one thing about this job, honestly. It's like, I can pretty much just call it a job at this point, which is nice.
Yeah. I mean, you've been full time for a while though. It's been how long's it been since you were moonlighting another source of revenue?
Almost a year.
Wow. Look at you, Mr. Full-Time Esports. Hot damn.
Yeah, in fact, I think it'll be a year next month, I want to say.
Wow. Well, good on you,
son. That was a good day. That was a very good day. Not have to sell Norton Security anymore.
Yeah, a scary day, though. I remember, well, you know, I've sort of gone back and forth a few times, but the last big job I had, I was doing tech support, and the pay was $33 an hour for doing pretty easy tech support. So it was a boring as fuck, slow job, but the pay was quite good. And there was a fair bit of downtime, so I could kind of do stuff on my phone and sort of...
33 American dollars an hour. My God, why did you leave?
Well, because it was boring as fuck, and I wanted to do esports. So I quit. Yeah. I went on holiday for a month, got blasted, and came up with the idea for Dota Radio, and then reinvented myself as a Dota 2 play-by-play caster, and the rest is history. Worked my way up to get to BTS. So it was scary as fuck. I did not have the idea when I quit. I had I need to quit or else I might kill myself because this sucks. Yeah. I was also commuting an hour and 5 minutes each way, so the days were way longer than they should have been. And I didn't want to get a place closer to the job because then I'd have to sign a lease, and I didn't want to get stuck in that trap where like, well, now I need the job to pay for the lease. And it becomes this whole trap where you're stuck somewhere that you really don't want to be, and every day you have that remorseful feeling of, fuck, man, what if I just follow my dreams? What if I just pushed a little longer, Every time you see a success story of an esports person, you're just like, fuck, that could have been me. Fuck.
Yeah,
it's like your life just sucks, dude. It's not a good existence.
The soul sucking was the worst part by far. I actually could not do that job anymore. I physically just could not even do it. I remember that dread of like going into that job and just every time, because the way mine worked was, it was probably like yours. It was all inbound. So you're just like sitting there and you're on your phone and you're watching Netflix, and the whole time you're just dreading the sound of that ring in your ears when someone wants something. Oh God, I actually hated it so much. Oh.
Yeah, it was a ticket system. So you would have that. The problem was mine was public sector. So I was working for the New Jersey state government. And one of the issues with the state government is it's really hard to get fired. I don't know if this is an interesting aside or not, but the reasoning is basically people have figured out that if you get fired or terminated and you sue for wrongful termination, whether or not you were actually wrongfully terminated, the value play that the state almost always comes to is to settle, because a lawsuit, even if the state is in the right, is expensive and time consuming and all this stuff. So it's also bad press. So they always want to try to avoid that. And commonly, rather than paying people cash, it's a better value proposition for the state to offer people a position. So they're paying them money, but they're also getting work value out of that person back. So in theory, it's the difference of the state giving free money to someone or just hiring them back for a job and still having to pay that money. So the effect of this is you have a lot of fucking people that should have been fired, but their bosses don't want to go through the ringer to get rid of them, or they've already tried to fire them and they've sued for wrongful termination and they've been offered their job back. So there's a lot of dead weight, a lot of red tape, a lot of bureaucracy, and like I had an issue 3 months into that job with one of the ladies on my team who accused me of taking too many of the tickets. She accused me of intentionally trying to make her look bad because I was doing too much of the work. And my response was like, well, I'd rather just get all the tickets done so we can sit here and do nothing. If there's nothing in the ticket queue, then we have no job. We're just on call. And she had this weird system of always keeping one. It's like how I use my credit card. Always hold that $100 balance. Always roll over a little bit to show you're responsible. You know, she's always got a ticket open to show that you're working on something. It's just so fucking befuddling. You know, it sounds amazing. $33 the dream to kick back and snap your carrot, teaching people how to use PowerPoint. But dealing with people like that on a day-to-day basis when you feel like the people on your work team aren't really on your team and they're just looking out for themselves, it's fucking toxic, dude. It's terrible. It's not worth it. Not worth the fucking money. So
yeah, that sounds awful.
Hashtag welcome to New Jersey.
Oh, God. Well, we're not there anymore, thank God. shitty fucking jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was...
but it was still scary when I quit.
What's happened at our lovely hub? You know what? I do feel bad that we didn't stream that Secret Hitler.
Oh, yeah.
I feel really bad. It's so hard to do, though, guys. I'm really sorry that we didn't. But the other thing was, it was 24/7. So if we're streaming Secret Hitler, that means that we need a secondary stream that's not the games and all that stuff. And
yeah.
But my God, there were some absolutely incredible games of Secret Hitler.
It's true.
They were so funny.
It was a good bonding experience because it's always fun to play Secret Hitler when there's a mix of like first timers, you know, like Blake and Brax and Shane had never played before, and obviously like you, Suns fan, have played a lot. I've played a little bit. Mott's played a fair bit. At this point, Annie's actually played a fair bit. So it's this interesting mix of talent, and it was rather explosive. We had some fun games. Fucking Suns fan was Hitler again.
Oh, Suns! That was so funny when Suns fan was 100%. I was fascist, so I'm sitting right next to Suns fan, and Shane's on my left. And they're both liberals. I'm a fascist, and Slacks is a few seats over, and he's Hitler. And Suns fan, for some reason, just 100%, he just goes, I am positive that Slacks is liberal. It's like, I know. I'm 100% certain. And so then I start trying to get like this really aggressive fascist thing to just totally throw him off that, just try and keep him on that. And I tried to make myself kind of an obvious fascist while looking like I was trying to play liberal. And that game was, oh my God, he was so convinced Suns fan or that Slacks was liberal that once we got to the point where you have to nominate somebody, he's like, I will only vote yes if it's Slacks. Which of course makes us win if he gets elected at that point. That was my favorite game by far.
The one that where Suns fan was so confident and he was actually wrong. The look on his face when the game was over was so good. It was that priceless, utter defeat. Just, I know nothing.
Yeah, I think I leapt over top of Shane to hug Slacks. I couldn't believe we won that game. That was so great.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good time.
And he literally said, by the way, at the very start of the game, he goes, someone accused of being Hitler, and he goes, yes, I'm Hitler. I'm Hitler. And now when you guys lose, I'm going to say, see, I fucking told you I was Hitler.
Yep.
And then Suns fan right after, he's like, see, he's so liberal.
And he turned out to be Hitler. It was the ultimate mind game.
He basically Babe Ruthed it. He was like, he gave the point. God, that was funny.
My God. I saw Tortellini asking the chat earlier, like, what the primary role of Shane is. And I think it's a good question because Shane is someone that has been... He hasn't gotten a lot of spotlight at big tournaments, and I've been saying for a while, I think if you go back like 10 Zyori podcasts, there's one of me jerking off to Shane on panels. And I think he is one of those people that is just really well suited for a TriCast. When you're on a three-person panel like that, if you have a play-by-play and you have a hard analysis that can get a little dry like Purge, Shane is a great person to bridge the gap because what you really want in a third wheel is someone that understands the game well and can ask more advanced questions than the play-by-play caster without taking things away from the play-by-play caster. You want someone with some personality and color, and of course Shane can do that, right? His stream is goofy. He's friends with Puri and Flax. He can fit into that Slack style a little bit. I think Shane's been more serious recently than he used to be after playing the analyst role on Dream League for so long.
Exactly, yeah, because he kind of had to. So.
Yeah, but he's one of those people that has higher MMR than you think. He's like a 5 or 6K player. You know, like he actually understands the game at a much higher level than people give him credit for. So he's just good at filling that role. He's good at keeping things interesting and pointing out stuff in the game that you wouldn't ordinarily think of. Hello?
Oh, you cut out for a second.
What happened? What happened, Trent?
I don't know. You're back now.
Oh. But anyway,
okay.
For an event like this, I think Shane is... Oh, why am I dropping frames, Trent? Is Mott downloading porn?
It looks like it.
Son of a bitch.
Calais.
Mott, you bastard.
Typical. Oh, look at those frames go. Oh, that's beautiful.
I can see it, dude. Thanks, Comcast Business Class. But anyhow, with that kind of TriCast format, I think that's where Shane is really well suited.
Yeah, I think he's probably the most similar person to me, I would say, I guess, because I'm not a pro player, guys. I know, I hate to break it to you, but I still play this analyst role, but obviously I'm not going to be as good as Brax or even like Purge or something like that, right? So
yeah,
we kind of fall into that same area of being able to do both roles too, because he can play by play.
Yeah.
Same thing, so.
Well, yeah. I mean, most people that cast as an analyst can do play-by-play. You know, like I've heard Merlini do play-by-play. You know, Purge can do play-by-play. He just doesn't because it's not the role that's normally best suited for him. But what do you think about this Jugg Arcana, Trent? I want to spend some time talking about cosmetics here because this one.
Okay, all right.
I feel like this might be one of the craziest to date. He fucking drags his sword in the ground. It makes crazy particle effects. He's glowing. He's misting. He's fucking spraying.
I'm going to open my client and demo it right now. He relive it.
Barely looks like Juggernaut. It's one of those things where if you know, okay, you know it's Juggernaut. But I just installed the game yesterday. I played Juggernaut with no items. You queue up game 2 and you're against an Arcana Juggernaut. What the fuck are you looking at? And that's the angle that I'm starting to like. Unrecognizable. We're getting into that Heroes of Newer territory. Like, who the fuck's that cyborg? Oh yeah, no, that's Scout's new skin. He's a cyborg now. Sorry, you missed the email.
I was opening streams and I legitimately could not tell. Like the icon looks very different. I had no idea that was a Jugg. Even the orange icon was confusing me. All right, let me look at myself here. All right, so I love the little dragon thing. I guess without question, we have to start this off with the blue hue. What the hell? Well, why did they just make a PA Arcana for Jugg? Like, is that how low? Like, what the fuck? I was actually so confused. I was like, why of all the colors would you pick the only one you've used that... Like, it looks exactly the same as the PA Arcana. It's the same blue and orange.
Yeah.
So that really annoyed me. And then the Legacy style was by far the right decision, but it should have been there from the start. I have no idea why that wasn't the initial form.
Yeah.
If anything.
I mean, it's definitely cool, and I understand why people will buy it and all that kind of stuff. But it's a little much for me. It's similar to the Crystal Maiden dog, where it's just extra clutter on the screen that is just kind of there, and it just feels unnecessary. Maybe I'm being a curmudgeon, Trent. Maybe I'm just caught in my old ways. I'm a purist when it comes to cosmetics. I remember the first item I ever bought in Dota 2. It was a common lance. For Phantom Lancer, it cost $3.76, and I was like, you know what? I've got $4 and some change on my Steam wallet. I'm probably never going to buy anything ever again. I might as well just waste this money, and I've moved around the shop, and the third item I saw was like, ooh, Phantom Lancer, I like him, and I bought it. And it's literally a common dinky piece of shit, and now it's probably worth half of a penny. And
if that.
Yeah, and I liked that. I liked feeling like that shitty little item mattered. And now $35 you could buy a fucking video game. You could buy that whole thing you were talking about earlier for $20.
So you can buy Shadow of Mordor, like 30 hours of gameplay.
So I guess what bothers me is I just don't understand the value proposition of an Arcana, and I fear for the future of Dota and particles and the watchability of the game, man. What happens when every hero has a dancing fucking dragon particle stick? What happens when Darkseer gets an Arcana and it just triples his particles? Like, what are we looking at? What are we doing?
Yeah. I'm looking at it now. I like the dragon thing that flies around. That's pretty cool. It does look like a dolphin, though, when it's blue. I can kind of agree with that. And now I know everyone was calling it a dolphin. If you really want it to be a dolphin, I think your brain can make it a dolphin.
Yeah. It's just so particly. Like, people used to say this about Heroes of New Earth, that the game looked like a disco ball when a team fight broke out. And for someone that didn't play the game, it was just seizure-inducing to watch because there was too much happening on the screen. And now, like with this piece of shit, and then you've got Leshrac with his glow stick, and then you've got Enchantress with the rainbow impetus, and all of a sudden this team fight is, if a unicorn just came charging across, you wouldn't really think twice.
Well, that's just Keeper of the Light.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, it is true. I know what you're saying.
I don't know. It's an age-old argument.
Style, though, I'm actually fine with. It looks like Juggernaut. Like, this doesn't bother me at all. I wouldn't even be confused. Like, yes, I'd have to get used to the icon up top, but that's
the red
every
style?
Arcana. Yeah, the red one. I mean, this is just Jugg.
Yeah. I mean, it's too glowy for my taste, but you're right. It does look like him. The color schemes are where things start to get crazy. Like, was it... Oh, it's PA. Yeah, everyone got really upset when they changed PA's dagger to be a scythe. And they said part of the problem with that is it's it's lore breaking, stifling dagger. What are you, stifling scythe? It doesn't really make any sense. And on top of that, like you associate, it would be like taking away Clinks's bow and giving him like a fucking crossbow or something. You're kind of like, well, but the defining thing about Clinks is that he's an archer. And when you take that away, it makes it harder to identify exactly what hero it is in the moment, I
actually have to look at like default PA. What does default PA even look like?
She just has a little dagger. I mean, I don't think the scythe is maybe that obnoxious, but when it came out, people had a big problem with it. It was like Kitty Cat Drow. Everybody except Toby fucking hated
it. Yeah, that's pretty accurate, actually. Oh, custom effects. Oh, look at this. Oh, my cool PA items I didn't even know I had. Oh, yeah, she has like, her default is that weird like double-ended thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, and then she has her little dagger sitting there, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, PA.
A lot of people like to talk about the Wisp Arcana, but honestly, I don't think it's ever going to happen.
Really? I think it will.
No.
I think they'll release one. They must have had one ready.
So, no. Well, maybe.
Why wouldn't you, though? People want it so badly. So, I mean, how hard can it be?
People say that they want it, but here's the thing, Trent. So here's the thing about Dota 2 items. People buy items for heroes that they play. Okay? That's true. So, Pudge, Juggernaut, very popular heroes in terms of item. Drow, right? And we're talking about pub pick rate, right? Those are three heroes that are top of the list for pick rate and top of the list for number of cosmetics, right? Like think about all of the cool Jugg items that were in the game already before the Arcana, like that Dota Cinema one that changes based on some bullshit. And there's been a lot of cool Jugg sets. And that's because people want to see their cosmetics. And guess what? Wisp is at the bottom of the barrel in pub pick rate. Like he is literally one of the lowest, if not the lowest pick hero in pub games. Because he's fucking hard to play. And a lot of people play solo queue. Have you ever randomed a Wisp in a solo queue game? It's not fun. Your teammates are retarded. They run away from you and break the tether, and then they yell at you for not saving them when they break it. That's like, at least that's what happens in my games. The only time that I have won with Wisp and solo queue is in the troll sniper meta, and all you had to do was sit behind your sniper and just fucking heal him up and overcharge him, and you won the game. And that was...
Yeah, you're not wrong.
That was pretty easy. I could handle that. But it just, the Wisp Arcana would be cool. It would be memey. Some people would buy it as a joke, but I think sales numbers wise, it wouldn't hold a candle to something like the Juggernaut Arcana,
Yeah, no, you're probably right. There's no doubt about that.
But hey, maybe they'll do it. I mean, someday they might, right? If it wins the poll, then maybe.
Let's try and figure out next Arcana right now, and then we'll be right. We'll see if we're right. Yeah, we'll try and call it.
I would love to see a Darkseer Arcana.
Not gonna happen. I think for the same reasons, like not pickable enough. Is he?
Let's see.
Is there any off-lane Arcana? There's not, right?
LC.
Oh yeah, I guess she's kind of an off-laner. I guess I'm thinking more like team fighter, but yeah, you're right.
So let's go to heroes, and I'm gonna take a look at all hero. Is it trends? Is that where you go? No, most played. Here we go.
I would say well, then now you've got me kind of thinking about like a Timbersaw one would actually be so cool. You could do so much with Timbersaw Arcana.
Okay, so right now in the last month, the top picked heroes in pubs are Pudge, then PA, then Invoker, then Sniper, then Jugg, then LC, then Slark, then Axe, then Shadow Fiend.
Now, Invokers isn't an Arcana, right? That's set?
Correct.
Even though it's basically an Arcana?
Are you talking about the Dark Mastery one, the awesome blue?
I mean, that thing is basically an Arcana,
so
right?
It has a lot of the features you look for in Arcana. The difference is it's an ultra rare. So it's worth more than $35. I think probably it's probably like a $70 or $80 set.
Well, I'm seeing the bundle on the market for $200, but I'm gonna guess there's probably a cheaper version. There must be.
I don't know which pieces give you, like, one of the main things is the tornado that makes the runes and stuff. So the different pieces give you different things. A sniper arcana, I don't see that happening. What about a pudge arcana? Is that like too ridiculous?
Yeah. I mean, eventually that's probably gonna be one of the next ones.
All right, well, I'm calling it here, Trent. Pudge arcana is coming next.
Pudge,
that's me.
That's the next one. All right, I will pick something else here. So it has to be highly played. I think Axe, actually. If I had to have an offlaner, it would probably be Axe, right?
Okay.
He's very pubby. A lot of people pick him. He'd make a good arcana.
The only thing with Axe is he already has a lot of badass cosmetics. Have you ever seen the crazy glowing axes with the huge shoulder, the huge back plate? Oh,
I agree, but so does Jugg. I mean, so does Pudge, right?
But
Pudge has tons of cosmetics.
Doesn't Axe have the most immortals of any other hero? I might be making that stat up, but I feel
that
like
sounds about right, honestly.
I've seen a shitload of immortals on that hero.
But it's the same reasoning, right? Because he's played all the time.
No, I mean, you're right. It's a fair wager. I'm surprised LC is picked that much in pubs. LC is like the 6th most picked hero in Dota pubs right now.
Dude, it's jungling.
What the fuck is that?
Jungling. There's no question.
With a 49% win rate. God damn.
Let's see. How often is she in the jungle? We can check this, I think. Jungle presence 63% of the time.
So 2/3.
That actually blows my mind. Holy shit.
I've gotten to the point now where if I beat a team that has jungling LC, at the end I type GGLC useless jungle. Like, it drives me so fucking crazy. Nothing irks me more in pub games than when you have a 4v5 game for the first 15 minutes and then your jungler just fucking types behind his keyboard, just gets all mad and tells everybody they suck because you lost 4v5. It's so mind-numbingly stupid that people can't understand why you would lose lanes 4v5 when there's an ogre on the other team and you have a Crystal Maiden who's trying to support 3 lanes. Do the fucking math, Brainiac. Sorry, I hate jungling LC, man.
I actually can't believe it's... I can't believe it. I mean, that's just a good example of how many games there are that people don't take into account. So, I don't know, like, when we talk about Dota as a whole, we give way too much credence to high MMR and esports compared to how much like, pub games are played. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I don't see Jungle LC that often. Not even close to that. That is just crazy. 63% of her presence is in the jungle. Like, she's always offlane in my games or something like that. And then it's kind of insane to think just how little that accounts for it. Wow, her win rate went up like a whole percentage point. Not bad.
Yep. Pudge is the hero right now, though. 53% win rate as the most picked hero in pubs. That is pretty impressive.
Yeah, that hero is very good.
53 is quite good. I didn't realize PA was so high.
I'm sure his win rate probably went down, right? Because of the nerf?
I would imagine. I don't know what it was.
Went down by about 1%, yeah.
Yeah, it
went from like 53.4 to like 52.
It's pretty big. Monkey King, 45% win rate. Well deserved there. Shit hero.
Monkey King. He's killing the pro games. Have you watched any yet?
A little bit. I mean, I saw the Zai Monkey King in the Onyx series. That was about it. It can be good. It's definitely a position 4 that can snowball. So there are those games where it looks completely broken. You know, I lost a game the other day to an Aghanim Scepter Wraith King. That might be one of the better brain-dead pub strats out there right now. In the lower MMRs, it's pretty fucking obnoxious.
Yeah, it really is, actually.
It depends on what your lineup is, but sometimes...
I haven't seen it since like it came out, though.
Yeah, that like extra window of people being alive, it's pretty impressive. I guess the caveat is your Wraith King has to survive, too. But... Huh?
I'm surprised Necrophos has picked that much, too. I wonder what his MMR breakdown is. Is there, like, a thing?
Yeah, Necro
like, what MMR has he played the most in?
Super strong. 56% win rate. God damn.
Oh, here we go. Win rate. How do you do by MMR? I know there's a way to do this. Friends, is it?
I'm not
here we go.
Dota buff expert.
I know there's a way to do this. I'm just bad at it at the current moment.
Well.
Let me see. If I pick Necrophos, where's the MMR breakdown? Player rankings, trends.
What did you think about the South American qualifier? Were you into it? Were you glad that they
watch
did it?
Nope. Sucks. No, I can understand why they're doing it, but it's going to be a painful transition.
Yeah.
To have that in, because until now that it's established, there will be better things. So,
yep,
maybe the teams will get better. But holy shit! Oh, I found it. Meta trends. Okay, here we go. Nice.
Hit me with it.
All right, so let's start here. The 2K bracket. The most pick hero is actually PA, not Pudge.
Okay.
All right, that's kind of cool. Then it's Pudge, and then Legion Commander, and then Sniper. So they're the most picked there. Once you move to 2K to 3K, Pudge becomes 34% pick, so he eclipses PA by a bit, and then into Invoker, and then PA and Jugg.
Yeah.
All right, who wins the most in 2K, 3K? 60% win rate for a bat, and 59.4 to be precise.
That makes sense, though. Healers are really broken against low-tier players because they just don't know how to kill
even high-tier players, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
He's the highest win rate in 5K plus, too, so...
fucking Abaddon.
So, who's picking Necrophos is my question. Where is he in 2K? He's kind of up there. He's 16%. 3K Necrophos still 16%. 3K to 4K still 16%.
Well, here's a stat that'll put it in perspective. Tortellini says that PA is the second most subscribed guide in his collection. 2.63 million unique subscribes. Or downloads, I guess, whatever that. Unique people that have read the guide. That's pretty crazy. That's a lot of fucking people trying to learn how to play PA.
Holy shit. Necrophos he's 16% pick rate at every bracket. He's drops to 15 at 4 to 5K. But at 5K plus, he drops to 9%.
Wow. So it's lower MMR picking Necro.
Wow, that's kind of cool, though. That's a big drop, I feel like.
Yeah.
I guess it's probably like that for everyone else, too, except Pudge, because Pudge still gets picked all the time in high MMR.
Necro is a very straightforward hero conceptually. So if you're a higher skill MMR where people know how to counter him, you pick Abaddon, you buy Glimmer Capes, you pick heroes like Chen, you rush a mech. So whenever someone gets Reaper Scythed, you're ready for it. And if you can heal that person in the 1.5 second conversion, the Scythe doesn't do shit. So it makes sense that at high MMRs, supports can counter him a lot more, even just with items like Glimmer. Yeah, that's huge. But, sub 4K, supports aren't really that coordinated. The amount of times people are able to effectively mitigate a Reaper's Scythe with something like that is definitely not up to par. So I could totally see that. Huh. But, back on the point of the South American qualifier, I am glad that they did it. I think it's good for global Dota in general. I think that region desperately needed some sort of a boon after the whole match-fixing Smash lifetime ban scandal that we all know about so well. I've kind of changed my tune on this a little bit, actually. I used to be in the camp of it's fucked up, but you have to take into account the standard of living, the conversion rate, they live in a part of the world where it is exceptionally difficult to be a full-time Dota 2 player. And maybe that's not a valid excuse, but I feel like that's also not a non-factor. And you can always draw that parallel of what about Solo, the classic 3-2-2? Now it's all a joke, and he's able to play again in Valve events. And the key difference that I was missing this whole time is Solo did it at a time when it wasn't explicitly forbidden. Everybody knew that it was not a good thing to do, and that he was temporarily banned from tournaments, but there was never a global policy from Valve that said this is against the rules.
And this is what will happen. Obviously, it's against the rules, but
it
was never outright said you will be banned for life from Dota 2.
Exactly. So when it's not a spelled out consequence, and that's one of the drawbacks of not having an infrastructure, right? Like League of Legends, for example, with LCS, everything's in this one place where they have very defined rules, and it's easy to say, even if they didn't have an explicit rule for that, there's one big league, and Riot has the power to fine people or ban them or whatever the fuck they want to do. So, come to the future here with what team was it? Not today. What team were they on? Was it Infamous? I forget what team they were on when they actually did it.
I actually don't remember.
I can't remember. But
I want to say not today, but I don't
Smash
know.
and Co. When it happened, they did it after Valve had made that statement and said, "Listen, this shit is serious. We're running the biggest tournaments the world has ever seen for video games. Zero fucking tolerance for this kind of bullshit. Knock it out now." And then they did it. So the argument is there's no excuse. When you make it that black and white, that clear cut, you can't play dumb. You can't say, well, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. No. And if you didn't know it was a big deal, it's gross negligence. Either way, see you later. So
I wonder how much still happens. I bet it happens a lot still.
Yeah. And well,
do you think?
Who knows? I mean,
I think Tier 2 Dota is probably still rife with match fixing?
I mean, it's hard to tell because Tier 2 Dota is so volatile. And you'll see a lot of these crazy games, or like that old Cloud9 squad when they were Imperial. You know, you'd see these games where they'd upset big teams and stuff. And that can just happen because Dota's a volatile game. Sometimes you try a hero that doesn't work. There's a very fine line between quote-unquote throwing and trying something new that isn't proven, right? Techies gets released into Captain's Mode. Maybe you play a few officials with him. That's not throwing, but maybe you're not picking exactly into the meta to maximize your chances to win. And it's really hard to quantify that in terms of cheating.
And it's just insane how much like money you can just make. Like, I mean, it's almost limitless in a sense. You know what I mean? Like, you just get so many people to bet on this game, and if you throw it and the odds are there, it's insane how much money you're gonna get.
Yeah, I mean, it's true.
Worrisome.
It is very worrisome, actually.
But like, what do you? That's the problem, though. Like, there's nothing you can do against it. What are you gonna do?
I don't know. I wish I had a genius answer here, but I wish I had like a Savantian like articulation, but I don't. I don't know. We just have to roll with the punches and, you know, hide in darkness until somebody leaks some match fixing logs. I don't know.
That's the thing, right? And I know there's a little bit of I believe Richard Lewis has recently released another article about Tier 2 match fixing in Counter-Strike, where some guy just approached a team, and that team was immediately just like, whoa, I do not want any part of this. I'm going to immediately start telling everyone I know that you were trying to organize match fixing to try and clear myself because I don't want to be anywhere near this shit.
Okay.
Which is smart.
That's fair. That's
and something like that happened like last year, I want to say, in Southeast Asia. There was someone who was throwing around those messages too, and one of those Tier 2 teams sent out a message saying who it was and stuff, and basically the way they did it there was this random third-party person who said, "Hi, my name is blah blah blah. I represent a number of teams in X regions who organize match fixing. Would you like to be a part of that?" Basically, and I don't remember what team it was, but they immediately started posting this message and were like, "Oh my god, like someone's trying to do this, and there's match fixing and blah blah blah." But by being a third party, like, all right, okay, so you said no, but the next team who says yes, I'm just gonna do it again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's pretty wild, man.
Like someone out there, they're probably just making tons of money from this.
There are smart people out like. There are always people that are off the radar that are doing crazy shit like that you wouldn't normally think of. I remember having my eyes open in Diablo 2. You know, that game was notorious for having items that you could buy with real money. You know, you can buy like the perfect Breath of the Dying ethereal sword. And you're like, Jesus Christ, how do these bots work? Like, how do these websites have a endless supply of the perfect roll items that are ultra rare and worth hundreds of dollars? Yeah. And the answer is because they had very sophisticated bots that weren't detected by the cheating software that Blizzard had, and they were just farming shit like crazy. And the shitty bots that were like open source that you could download and run yourself couldn't even hold a candle to the stuff that these people had developed and just kept for themselves for these crazy marketplaces. You know, there's all sorts of trickery under the hood there, Trent.
I don't think anyone made like $1 million off the Diablo auction house before it got shut down.
Oh,
I think there's any one person out there who just got filthy rich.
On Diablo 3, or you mean Diablo 2?
Oh, well, okay, it's 2 as well, but I was thinking like the real money auction house in 3.
Diablo 3, all third market, gray market, third party shit. Absolutely, people made a fuckload of money on that. Yeah. The auction house for Diablo 3, $1 million is pretty steep, but it's possible. I mean, there are some people that went absolutely fucking ham. And you could definitely play it like a real economy, you know, and apply a lot of statistical type stuff to min-max it. I know Merlini made a little chunk off that.
Oh, really?
A little bit. I mean, he's a grinder. He definitely played some D3 with the Real Money Auction House.
That's true. He's a smart guy.
Trent, we got to wrap this bitch up soon. I can hear him rumbling around because he wants to get this stream set up, buddy. You know, I want to end this with a weird thought here. Last night, we were watching the new IRL section of Twitch. Have you seen this?
Okay, who was watching? Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
Have you heard about this thing the kids are doing now? And it's just an IRL, like, you know, it's for people with cell phone streaming. They're walking around. Fucking Andy Milonakis. You know this little bitch, the guy that used to be on MTV?
The name is very familiar.
So Google him. He's this short, kind of chubby dude with big glasses, and he looks really young. He's actually 41, but he has some hormone deficiency, and that's why he like never hit puberty properly, so he doesn't age like a normal person. So he looks like he's a teenager, but he's literally 41.
That's so weird. He does.
He had a show on MTV when I was in like high school, middle school. That was this weird variety show that was animated and strange and ADD-esque. He has like a show about food that's on the Vice YouTube network. And I was watching his stream last night, and it's just him walking around LA with a cell phone, and literally half of it is him doing nothing and people recognizing him on the street and him just saying weird stuff to him and meeting up with people. And he has this whole thing with like tip jars, and this is on Twitch. Like this guy that I used to watch on MTV as a kid is now streaming on Twitch to like 9,000 to 10,000 viewers, just live casting. It's
hop
weird.
in the lobby there, bud.
Hop in the lobby?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you open Dota and hop in since you're on that PC?
I can.
That would be a smart thing to do.
Can you?
That is wild, though. Actually.
Can you send me the password?
Oh yes.
Oh, I see it.
Oh, you got it. All right.
So no, it totally is. And I don't know why that was so mind blowing to me, but it truly was. And it was oddly captivating. He was doing literally nothing. But even just hearing him talk about the struggles of like streaming off a cell phone and 4G and all this stuff, it's the fucking future, man. Just walking around streaming 720p from a goddamn cell phone.
What a strange thing to do.
I know, man. Where are we?
I did hear about it when it first came out, but the idea of a celebrity just walking around streaming their interactions is entertaining, but also just so easy. I don't know. It's like free money.
Exactly, man. All right, Trent. We're out of here. Mont needs the cast, so we're going to cut this bitch. Thank you for watching another Zyori podcast. We'll be back 2 Sundays from now, something like that.
And we can use the notes from today because we didn't use any of them.
That's true. We talked about the hub. That's about it. Politics next time. All right, guys. See ya.
Oh, God. Please no.
All right. So usually I play music. I'm just going to cut this.